Hey, this is Banzai. Today we're doing a behind the scenes look at some of the videos that I make, specifically the hands-on videos at CameraCraft, where I take a piece of gear, check it out, film it, go back, make a voiceover, do all that stuff. First off, I have the equipment that I take to CameraCraft to do the filming. I use one of my M50s with the cage usually and a little tripod that I picked up. It's pretty versatile, so I can get low, get higher with it. Sometimes I bring a second camera if I need it, but usually just the one camera. Works out pretty well. I bring extra battery, memory card, a memory card for the camera I'm testing. Usually it's camera bodies, and that works pretty well. I do also have a light with a battery, of course, for that, just to get some extra light on the situation. I'll usually sit in an area that's a little bit brighter. It's just at the end of their big display case thing, but definitely more light is a good thing in that situation. From there, I have the footage. In that case, I usually want to review it pretty soon after I mess with the camera so I can get my thoughts down. I take notes. Sometimes I'll take all the clips, render them together in a low resolution file, put it on a phone, go to some type of restaurant and review that footage so I can write down notes on my phone as I'm doing it. It works pretty well just to get a different location situation to look at the stuff. Like I said, at that point I have my notes to look at, and then I'll just do the talking portion, and then we'll eventually get to the other pieces of the puzzle. The main step with the video editing to get started is to take that talking portion and use it as a base for the entire video in this case. With the talking portion, there are usually breaks in my speech, there are errors that I make, I redo it. I try to do one long take when I can, but a lot of the time I just try to get started and get myself working properly in that mindset. Eventually I get a take that's pretty decent. I roll with that one and use it in the video editor. The editor that I use is Magix Pro 15. I got it in a nice Humble Bundle buy. Very cheap for that software. I was using the consumer version of it for a long time. It seems to work pretty well with my style. Of course, there are a lot of options out there, so that all these non-linear editors work pretty similarly. Once I'm happy with the talking portion, how it's clipped up, I take all of my B-roll, which is all the clips of the camera itself, trying it, just a lot of clips that I try to get when I'm there at the camera shop, and then potentially I'll pull in other clips for cameras that I want to pair to the one I'm talking about, or lenses, anything that I'll just include in that video. And the goal is to put B-roll where I make a mistake, where I try to shorten what I'm saying. So in those situations, I actually clip those up. And you wouldn't want to see me doing that because it would be really weird looking to see it clipped. So anyways, what I do usually is get that B-roll and use it as a cover for me talking. But of course, when I do the voiceover, I do extreme cuts on that. I clean it up a lot in Audacity, the audio editor. Editing that audio to that degree is also very time consuming compared to just clipping it. Once I have the video done, for the most part, it has all the B-roll in, it has all the talking portion clipped up, and it flows pretty nicely. I'm going to take the entire audio section of the video, pull it out, put it into Audacity, adjust the levels, adjust the peaks of where the audio is so that there are no points where I'm talking really loud in one section. Use a compressor, use an equalizer potentially. I'm trying to get a little bit less because a lot of my past videos have a very digital, over-processed sound to them. My voice is higher than it probably is normally. I know it's hard to know what my actual voice sounds like. And then the noise reduction right at the end to clean up any background noise, which is always a problem with the preamps on cameras and in the microphone that I'm using. So just trying to make it decent sounding, trying to make it level and compressed so that no one talking piece is louder than the other. Now it's extremely challenging depending on how I'm facing with the camera, if I'm using clips from when I'm doing screencasts or when I'm talking to the camera like this. Once I'm done in Audacity, I render that out in the highest quality WAV file from that program, put it back into my video editor, and replace that big group of little pieces of audio with that one cleaned up piece of audio. At that point, I will go into there, I'll just check things out. Sometimes I do re-edit sections and all of that, but the last step is usually music, so I do try to put some type of background music. I've had complaints years ago where there was no music, they complained, but then sometimes music is too loud, people complain, or there's always things. I try to find a nice balance of having some type of music. I use all of the YouTube audio library music, so I don't have any issues with copyright. So far so good with all of that. I don't want to use any type of Creative Commons stuff or these companies that you can order music from. I don't know how those work out. I just don't want to spend that money. With the YouTube audio library, it's decent stuff. It's good enough for what I'm doing. With vocal audio, I try to have -1 dB. Doesn't cross that point, so it's pretty loud with the talking, which is what I want. Of course, that depends on your final output. With YouTube, I think that's a good option. With the background music, when I'm talking, I want it to be around -30 dB, plus or minus a few, but really not over that, usually under. So with the background audio, it really varies quite a bit, and you have to be careful not to have a section where it's really loud and irritating compared to other sections that are pretty quiet. When I'm not talking, I try to do -21 dB with music. It's pretty loud at that point, but it's not irritatingly loud. One thing you really should check out with your computer is make sure it doesn't have any type of auto leveling, auto voice features enabled in your sound settings, because what it does is it levels all the stuff out. It makes it equal, but when you're editing, when you're watching your video, all of that, you'll think your audio is good, but in reality, you probably are all over the place with your audio, your voice, your background music, your whatever. So just make sure that your computer, the settings, I don't know about Apple, what they have, but with Windows, there is a setting you want to turn off. Just make sure that's off when you're doing editing. Once I have the background music, maybe a little piece of ending clip with some music, just to have a little area, maybe 5-10 seconds. I don't go the full 20 seconds or whatever with YouTube. It's just a waste. Check it out, render it, review it a few times, re-render it a few times probably, and then of course all the upload and everything. So that's pretty much it with these hands-on videos. I probably missed a few little pieces that I do. Of course, I didn't go over tags, going over the description, the thumbnail, uploading, all of that extra stuff to it with the Instagram, which I've been doing lately. It is enjoyable, but there, again, takes a lot of time, which is the biggest thing. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video, that look behind the scenes at those hands-on videos. Again, thanks for checking out my stuff. Scott Photography Banzai. If you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing. That helps me out a lot. Likes and shares help out a lot as well. Thanks again.